Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're actually checking out the highest end mini PC we have ever taken a look at.
This thing features a GTX 1650 and an i7 9750H. Maybe, we might actually have gotten the wrong model, but before we talk about that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Lexar, your one-stop shop for all your storage needs. Stay tuned to the end of today's video to learn more about how you can upgrade your PC storage with their new Lexar NM620 SSD. Special thanks again to Lexar for sponsoring today's video. All right, guys, so we picked this thing up on our favorite retail store, Aliexpress. It took a couple of weeks to get here, a lot faster than the normal 2 to 3 months you normally wait to get something like this, so that was kind of cool. But the main reason I got this was for $700, you're getting a mini computer, which mini, it is not super small like the other mini PCs you're taking a look at, but it is still small, and it rocks a 1650 and i7. But the model sticker we have right here says i9 on it, so we might have gotten a free upgrade, which is around $800 for that model, so do keep that in mind if we do unbox it. It ends up being the i9.
So for gaming, this thing should have absolutely no problem, and of course, for doing tasks like office work and even streaming, you should probably be able to do this with it, and we'll see what kind of upgrade path it has as well once we unbox it.
So let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what's inside.
All right, so let's go ahead and see exactly what we got here, because as Matt said, we're not really sure if they sent us the right one.
It's almost there.
It's kind of like when you're getting out your cat food or dog food, you know?
Just let it wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There you go.
All right, so what we have here is the Heist Towel. And yeah, this is definitely bigger than any mini PC we've looked at. I feel like this is probably about double the size from the biggest mini PC we've seen. Wow, this thing has a lot of ports on it.
It's basically a full computer.
Yeah, like it's, I mean, yeah, we have an Ethernet, we have 4 USB 3s, 2 USB 2s, HDMI out, DisplayPort out, we have USB-C, and then we have the DC jack. We have nothing on the front, just a power button. It's a really sleek looking design though. We have like some nice red vents on the side, carbon fiber, and then like a multi-layer aluminum on the side. It does look like we are gonna need a screwdriver to get it open. I don't see any like, sometimes these are really cool and they'll have like little buttons you can push and then it just opens up.
This one ain't it.
This one ain't it. So, oh yeah, look, model. F7 i9 8950HK.
Yep, so we got the i9 model.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and open it up and, well, you know what, we should probably see what else is in the package. It came with a mouse mat. That's fun.
Look at that advertising.
It came with a DVD that has some butterflies on. Does this thing have a, it does not have a DVD player. That's interesting. Okay, user manual, GX01. It came with an HDMI. That'll be to hook up to your monitor. Came with a, big power brick, because this thing basically is a laptop essentially that doesn't have a screen or a keyboard. So you plug this in, got a big old power brick to power this monster. And it looks like they're expected to do some upgrades, because we have what looks to be like maybe a hard drive or SSD tray, some SSD screws, we have a SATA cable, and we have whatever this adapts to a SATA power. So they expect you to add some storage to this. So let's see what type of storage we can add, and if we can add or take away RAM. All right, so on the inside, we have a pretty standard looking motherboard. I mean, obviously you can't put this in like a case, but it honestly just looks like a micro ATX board. We have what looks like, you know, 2 laptop fans. We do have an extra RAM slot, and it does take SODIMM, so basically laptop RAM, it'll be DDR4, a little bit more expensive, a little bit harder to find. Now, we do have an M.2. This is a 256 gig King Fast. I think we just saw that brand earlier when we were on Newegg. So don't know if it's NVMe, but we know it's an M.2 SSD. We have our extra SATA, and we have the, you know, the weird conversion power adapter for it. And then you see these two here. I believe you'd take these, flip it like this, and then you'd be able to hook up your SSD to here. So it would not fit a hard drive, only 2.5 inch laptop drive or SSD, and you could also change out the M.2. Now, as far as the graphics card goes, not really a great way to figure it out unless we literally took off all this heat sink, wiped out the thermal paste to see exactly what we have here. We're not gonna be able to tell, but we do have massive amounts of copper. I mean, look at all this. That's all copper heat sink, and then we have just a huge copper heat pipe with heat sink on it, so should run pretty cool. I guess really the only way to figure out what it has in it is to hook it up.
All right, guys, we went ahead and plugged this thing up just to make sure it is what it is. But yeah, we did get the i9 model. There it is, with a 6-core, 12-threaded processor. Pretty pog. Look at that clock speed, though. It's zooming, almost a 5 gigahertz.
I'm gonna circle everything for you.
That's crazy. Thank you. And you can
see this?
Yeah, I see the circling. It's great. And you can confirm we do have the graphics card in there.
There you go.
There's the King Fast. Yes, the King Fast graphics card. But no, we got a 1650 in there. So this thing can definitely play some games. What we're gonna do is gonna load up, well, whatever games we feel like playing off of this SSD and just kind of see how this thing performs. But so far, so good. This thing is whisper quiet. It's like the quietest thing I've ever heard, honestly.
Now, one thing that does suck, single stick of 16 gigs. So, you know, we would recommend filling that second slot if you're serious about this computer. I think it's gonna be pretty good though.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this mini PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about some benchmarks real quick. First up, in Fortnite at 1080p on pro settings, we got well over 100 plus FPS. This could have been a lot better if the RAM configuration in this PC was different, because it only comes with a single 16 gig stick, which is very weird in my opinion. I normally see manufacturers, when there's 8 gigs in the system, use a single 8 gig stick, but for 16, using a single 16 gig stick, that just doesn't seem very cost effective in my opinion. But nonetheless, you can get 2 8 gig DIMMs if you want, or upgrade this thing to 32 gigs, and you will definitely get a performance increase just by running in dual channel. But that doesn't mean out of the box this thing isn't awesome for gaming. You're easily able to get a high refresh rate experience in Fortnite on a PC that is, well, very small. It is bigger than the average mini PC, but compared to a traditional desktop, it is, well, pretty impressive. And the same goes in games like Apex Legends. On medium settings at 1080p, we got over 60 FPS. I don't imagine the RAM upgrade would add that much more performance here. You're pretty bottlenecked by the 1650 in games like Apex and Cold War, which we'll talk about here later. So really don't expect to get much more than that, but getting 60 FPS in a mini PC, small form factor, ready to go, really can't complain here either. Now, a game this PC will absolutely excel in is CSGO, and on max settings at 1080p, we got over 100 FPS. I would say you'd get the exact same kind of configuration with a game like Valorant, Rocket League, any other esports title. You should have no problems running on higher settings at 1080p and getting over 100 plus FPS. I think that is exactly where this PC excels, and if you really want a small footprint PC that can play some esports titles and do some content creation on the side, which we'll talk more about at the end of this video, I really think this is a good offering, especially given the market. A kind of creative use case I could see for this PC is as a secondary streaming PC with that 1650 and the NVENC encoder. So if you're a streamer out there looking for a very small secondary streaming PC, this might be one to consider, considering all the USB 3 I/O that you could use with capture cards. Now let's talk about a game that pushes the 1650 to its limits, Cold War, Call of Duty Cold War that is. At 1080p with medium-low settings, we got around 60 FPS with a few dips below 60, which is to be expected. A 1650 is a good gaming GPU, but it is not going to play every game on high settings, especially newer titles like Call of Duty Cold War. So if you tamper your expectations a little bit and you go into this being, all right, I can play games like Fortnite, Apex, CSGO, no problems, and on lower settings in a game like Cold War or any newer releases, play games at 60 FPS, I think you'll be very happy with this PC. And considering 1650s on the used market right now with this whole GPU crisis are going for like $300-400, and you can get this whole PC for $700, I mean, you really cannot complain. I would recommend going with the i7 model because I do believe the 1650 is going to be the bottleneck in the system no matter what, so you might as well save some money and get the i7 model. But hey, they might just send you the i9 model like I got here, so who knows, you might get an i9 free bonus. But in terms of content creation and temperature management, this PC is pretty good. 6 cores and 12 threads could do pretty good stuff in terms of video editing and some light live streaming, but the thermal throttling does impact some of the performance because this thing does not have a sustained boost of over 2.9 gigahertz. Running Ida64, you do see that the clock speed is locked at 2.9 gigahertz. There are some short bursts where it'll boost up to 4.5 when you're doing certain tasks to make Windows feel very snappy, but there is no sustained boost, and I have a feeling that it's just some power management stuff on this board because technically this is a laptop board. You could do some fine tuning in there and try to lock it in at a higher frequency if you really wanted to, but from my testing, it really just always goes back down to 2.9 gigahertz, which doesn't really hurt that much, but in longer gaming sessions, it could end up being a problem, so do keep that in mind. But overall, I think this is something you all should jump on right now. Yes, it is a little bit of a gamble with Aliexpress, but I really think for the money, you cannot complain too much about this PC. And if you want to pick this thing up, check the link in the description down below. Buy the i7 model, save yourself a little bit of money, and have an awesome little gaming PC that you can use for whatever you want. So now that we wrapped up the benchmarking section of today's video, how about we're going to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick. Are you looking to up your storage game? Then you should look no further than the NM620 NVMe SSD from Lexar. This SSD features 3,300 megabytes per second read and 3,000 megabytes per second write speeds, along with the latest 3D NAND flash, and capacities of 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte. Lexar is known for making the most powerful yet value-focused storage drives on the market, and this one is no exception. So whether you're upgrading your PC for more storage or wanting to improve your speed, Lexar should be your one-stop shop for your next gaming SSD. Special thanks again to Lexar for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into the rest of the video, shall we?
So as you guys could tell, this thing ran pretty similar to having a i9 laptop with a 1650.
You could go for a laptop and have, well, a screen, a keyboard, and all that built in if you really wanted to. But if for some reason you're just really wanting a desktop setup, this right here is probably your best option, and it's really the best way to get anything with a 1650 that is not a laptop. So Aliexpress might be a decent option for this. I was very surprised how fast this actually shipped to us. Normally it takes a couple months to get Aliexpress stuff. This only took a little while, even though they did send the wrong thing, so buyer beware with that. But technically we got an upgrade.
We did. We got a free upgrade for about $70 worth. And another thing I want to point out too is, don't forget, you're getting a lot more ports on the back than you would really get with a laptop, and you also have the option for technically 2 to 3 display outs, assuming that Type-C can also do display out. So that part's pretty cool. And not to mention, it's slightly upgradable, about the same upgrades you do with a laptop realistically. And you know, with a laptop with like a 9th gen i9 like that in a 1650, I'd imagine you're probably still going to be spending close to $1,000, maybe more. We spent less than that, so hopefully this is still a decent deal by the time the video comes out.
So if you're looking to pick one of these things up, link in the description down below will be an affiliate link, and if you do purchase using that link, it will help us out. Let us know down below if you end up picking one of these up, because I'd be very interested to see how many of you are interested in a mini PC like this.
So we hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and as always, don't forget to check out our other YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And don't forget
to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. He awkwardly handed that off. I was not ready for that.
I purposely did that.
I was not ready for that.
So you guys probably know we have 2 other YouTube channels, and we also have Twitch, but on top of that, we have so many social medias for both businesses. It's insane. Matt's gonna tell you every single one right now.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok now. We got TikTok, that's a thing, and you guys are actually watching stuff over there, so thank you. So link in the description down below. There's a bunch of links right there that are in every video, and they actually work now, I promise. Let me know if they don't work. See you guys later.
And Facebook.